She's a nice little girl. She's a sweetheart. Are you a good girl? I don't care anymore. It was so nice. Just how you feeling? You could have some. I don't know what it's going to be.
When you sit with me, don't pity me. I am not an oddity. Instead, look into my eyes and find the woman that is still inside. I never wanted this disease to define me, to be my one lasting legacy, to be remembered by. And this film is not about the disease. It is not meant to educate anyone about diagnoses or symptoms or prevention. None of that. What I want you to know is that I am a real person who had some hopes and dreams that got lost along the way, but also blessings, adventures, joy, and oh, so much love. I was beautiful and intelligent and talented. I mattered. My being, my essence was important to this world. I am important.
Who's your daddy? Where's your daddy?
Do you remember me, Anna? Do you remember me?
Of course I did.
Do you?
Yes, I did. Whatever did you buy? What did you buy? Then you turn around and go quite suddenly. Just like that. Bingo. But she stares with the baby, goes all this right on top of his belly and all over Jack. Hey. I'm sorry about that, boys.
It had been my unspoken fear that I would develop this disease. As time passed, I had sadly watched as my mother and sisters and brother became swallowed up by that vague fugue of forgetfulness, rather of personalities and souls.
We've got to get these people, get all clean them all around, all around, all around, all around, and around. And I'm not.
I had silently prayed that the odds were now in my favor. After all, how many people in one family could this terrible fate befall? Surely we had paid the toll. I prayed. But as we all know, life is not fair. It is just life.
That's the way it's going to be. Every day I like to look at my mother. And she wanted to stop. She'd been there for a long time. This is my mother. She's my mother, and she's always going to be leaving like this. I can remember this, all that. But she's
Do you remember your mom here? I remember.
You remember what?
I remember, yeah.
You did?
Yep.
What was in it?
No, you're your mom. I remember when I was
we
younger.
We all got so excited. We were so excited that we didn't even know that was going to be someday. I hope so. They're all so good.
Can you tell me about this picture? What is she wearing?
This is all in here. These are all the peoples that the girls. There are some England's tell us, Harry, and their kids come out far.
I was third from the last of 12 children, born during the Depression years. I don't know how my father managed, but there was always food on the table for all of us. He was of Italian and Irish descent and had met my mother in New York City. She was a stunningly beautiful young Indian girl, born on a reservation in Canada. They never had an easy life, but they loved each other fiercely for over 62 years. Together they raised 11 children, honestly and righteously.
Love this jacket, Anne. Love the
You do?
jacket on her. Yeah.
You did
Very
me right
nice.
on her.
It's beautiful. What's her name?
Well, this is my Evie Erling party. And we're supposed to have something on my chest. But I'm not going to try not to do anything without that birdie. She'll find out too much. We had another baby girl. This was the little girl. And that was my little birdie girl. And we moved twice.
Unfortunately, the youngest child, a baby girl, had died at birth. Though she never spoke of it, I believe this loss haunted my mother until her dying day. In the end, she would cry out,
My
"The baby."
She was dead. Please.
I still dream about this little lost soul.
You want to move it up a little bit? I don't know what you want, my mother's. My mother's crying. She's crying. I want you to help me. I've got to take it off home. My baby wants to. No.
We made it through the Depression and World War II. Our family was very fortunate. All four of my brothers made it home safely from the war. And then one by one, we left the house. I married very young, as was the custom back in the early 50s. And now, 63 years later, we're still married. I was the perfect housewife and stay-at-home mom to 5 children. Life was hard. Looking back, I really don't know how I managed. I cooked, cleaned, made my grocery money stretch farther than I possibly ever dreamed it would. I disciplined the children, patched their dungarees, settled their fights, and sewed all my daughter's clothes from scratch. Shoes were taken to the cobblers for repair. Clothes were hung out in the line to dry. Prayers were said before bed. I instilled the love of reading into all my children by reading to them every night. I sang around the house and I played the piano. I laugh when I think about how I taught myself how to drive the car by driving around and around the block during the day when my husband was at work and the kids were at school, until I finally felt confident I could pass that road test. Driving brought me and the children great freedom. We could now go to the beach and Fenway Park.
That's all I found. That's all I looked was something for a little girl. This is probably the only one that they're going to have babies. You have to do it for myself. I do it because you never know. I do with the babies. Good girl. Yes. You're a very good girl. You're a very good girl. That's okay. That's okay. Oh, that's for the Bookie Barbie. The Barbie and the Barbie Bookie. I have to go up there because it's too much for me. And I don't know what they don't want to put nothing in there. See that? She's not getting word of any pus. Nobody's going to helping me. I didn't even know it was coming to her bed. Okay. All right. You're facing very good in jail. Yes, I do. It's okay. It's all right. Okay. There we go. Yes, we do. She'll come back in a little while. That's right. That's a good girl. Yeah, you can do that. They just come out a little bit. Well, this is the one just as good. Whatchamacallit.
As the years passed, one by one, my children grew and left home for colleges and marriages, and I found I was restless. So, with newfound freedom to pursue my interests, I enrolled in Rhode Island College. It was liberating to be surrounded by young students with free-thinking minds, and I loved the knowledge I found in all those books. I majored in languages and achieved my dream of obtaining a bachelor's degree. I also discovered a roaming spirit existed in my soul, and armed with my newfound independence, I traveled the world. Sometimes with friends, sometimes alone. It didn't matter. I loved to soak up those new cultures. It was a glorious time.
Me, 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 say I. It's a time to play my heart and my...
Soon enough, the grandchildren started to arrive. Each one so unique of face and personality. How I loved and cared for every one of those children. They snuggled into my lap and shared their hugs and kisses and secrets with me. But all too soon, I watched them grow into their new lives and find their places in the world. This was a bittersweet time, during which I also cared for my parents as their lives declined.
That's my mother. She's right there. She'll come back. She'll come back and we'll come back.
I felt a profound depth of sadness I did not even know existed when I lost my parents. And then one by one, my sisters and brothers. I don't believe one is ever truly prepared for when death shows up on one's doorstep. But the danger of having a deep, abiding love will always include the possibility of grievous loss. That's what makes us feel alive.
Kamoki papi days, young Sapiro. I say, dear. You've got to know about the children, but you can't remember about the children.
And so you have chosen to watch this film out of love for me, or an interest in the subject matter, perhaps just an idle curiosity of my life. But because of that decision, you and I are now connected in an odd, cosmic, brief moment of time. It was our fate, part of my reason for being on this earth, meaningful for both of us. And as you walk with me on this last journey, remember that I am a whole, vital human being who has lived a full and beautiful life. You are now the keeper of my memories. My name is Anna, and I am loved.
Howdy. Howdy. Come on. That's what you do.